Hello, hello there. How are we doing this morning? Good? Yeah, give me a thumbs up if you're doing well today. So, do you ever stop yourself from going to bed because of what the clock is saying? Like it says 8 o'clock in your mind, you're saying, I can't go to bed. It's only 8 o'clock, right? So we tell ourselves that we can't go to bed yet. It's too early. Or perhaps you're worried or concerned that a partner or a spouse is going to say to you, why are you going to bed now? It's so early. The kids are barely in bed. Why are you going to bed? And so you stop yourself and you end up staying up and falling asleep on the sofa to be woken up later on to go to bed, but then you can't get back to sleep. These are things that I hear really frequently from other survivors. Now, my name is Karen Del Maestro. I'm your self-care coach, breast cancer and BRCA2 thriver, and I specialize in working with breast cancer survivors just like you who are longing to get back their get up and go after treatment is over. And I, guys, go to bed at 8 or 8:30. Yes, I'm yelling it. I am proud of it. I'm not ashamed of it. And I don't care what other people think about it. And I'll tell you why. Because that's what I need to do for me. Is that selfish? You may think so. I don't. I call it self-care. And that's one of the main pillars that I talk about in my coaching practice, right? As a self-care coach, obviously. But we talk about food, we talk about toxins, we talk about stress, and of course, self-care. These are the four areas, main areas that I see that suck us dry, where we can have much more control over the outcome with those things, right? Those are areas where we get to choose what we do. But the power to choose comes from our ability to prioritize our self-care. So self-care becomes the overarching umbrella that controls all of the other decisions that we make in our life. That's why, to me, self-care is our rock. It's the center of our being, and it is crucial for us to be able to make those decisions and choices for ourselves. Because you know what? People are going to judge us anyway. They're going to think what they want. They're going to do what they want. And they're going to say what they want. And we do not get to control that. So why do we put our well-being on the back burner for what somebody else is going to say, do, or think? Interesting, right? We dive into this much more in my masterclass on Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, October 30th. Reclaim your energy after breast cancer. It's up to you. You got to take it back. It's not suddenly going to just arrive. Let me tell you, this needs to be really intentional. And I'm going to be sharing with you the number one thing that's zapping your energy behind the scenes, but also 3 things that you can stop doing that are going to free up a ton of energy and you don't even realize what they are. I am so beyond excited to be sharing this information with you, pulling back the curtain, sharing with you what I do, right, to get my energy back. Yes, including going to bed at 8 o'clock, but we're going to talk about that more right now. So, have you noticed that there's a point, right, when you're pushing yourself to stay up? Have you noticed that there's a point that you reach where you get like a second wind? Suddenly you feel like your head's clearer, you've got more energy, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can keep going. And then you have a hard time going to bed and falling asleep. Yeah, yeah. I always think of, when my kids was younger, and if you have kids, I'm sure you've noticed this, where you reach that almost overtired point where you don't know what to do with yourself anymore. It's like you're overtired, you've got energy. It's like you're going, 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 but you're exhausted at the same time, right? Tired and wired, right? Both at the same time. And once you hit that point, if you lay down in bed, you just don't know what to do with yourself. You're tossing and turning, your brain's spinning on all the things that are on your mind and your to-do list for the next day and all of those things, right? So ideally, what we want to do is go to bed before this happens. Now, how do we know when it happens, right? Well, sometimes you have to kind of play around a little bit to see when that point is for you. And it may vary depending on the day, right? Depending on what you've been doing, depending on how stressed or anxious you are about things. Like you've probably noticed if you're going for a scan or a doctor's appointment, you are exhausted and drained on those days. Not because the scan or the appointment is difficult, but because of the stress and the anxiety, or the scan anxiety, right? As sometimes it's referred to in our breast cancer circle. It's because that is so draining. So, how do we approach this? How do we find that sweet spot for when we go to bed so that we're not feeling that tired and wired feeling? Well, like I said, sometimes it takes a little bit of practice to kind of a little bit of trial and error to see where that is. But I'm pretty sure that you already know it, right? Where your gut is saying, oh, I just want to go to bed. And then you look at the clock and maybe it's 7 o'clock and you're telling yourself it's too early, it's too early. But I wonder what would happen if you went to bed at 7. Would you sleep till 5 or 6 the next day? Perhaps. Perhaps. If you don't know and you've never tried it, then how do you know? Right? So, what I like to do, and like I said, I'm normally in bed anywhere between 8 and 9 is really the truth, depending on what's going on, depending on if my husband and I are watching a show, half the time I'll fall asleep during the show anyway. Um, but that's also because I have a nighttime routine. And I invite you to do the same because this really does help. And so if you're thinking somewhere between 8 and 9 might be your sweet spot, around, 7 o'clock, we want to be off our phones, yeah, off our electronics, powering them down for the evening, letting our brain rest, taking a rest from the blue light. I like to make a cup of tea. It's a great way to help your digestion as you go to sleep. Great way to help your spleen and support your spleen overnight as it's doing its thing. You can have a bath. You can use magnesium oil on the bottom of your feet. That's a great way to replace some magnesium and help your legs. If your legs are restless during the night, then that's a great thing to also do. You could be writing in a journal and writing down 3 things that you're grateful for in your day. But all of this, again, just with children, right? What do we do when we've got little ones? We have a nighttime routine. They have their bath, they have their story, they're ready for bed by a certain time. And so that they're signaling themselves that it's time for bed. Well, we need the same as adults. We thrive with a bedtime routine. So it's just a little bit of trial and error as to when that sweet spot is for you to discover when it's best to start your nighttime routine. But that nighttime routine starts to signal to your body and your brain, okay, nighttime's coming. And so we're winding down versus hitting that spot where we get that second wind and we're wired again. I hope that makes sense, right? Let me know in the comments. So we want to experiment. We talked about a nighttime routine as well on day 15 of our 30 days of energy boosting tips. And the other thing that I want to kind of draw attention to here is so often we can have a habit of beating ourselves up for being so tired, right? And feeling like we're missing out on a nighttime of activities. When in reality, for most of us, things do slow down at night. And maybe what you do is during the week, it's a certain nighttime, and maybe on a weekend, it's a little bit later, if you are okay with that. Not pushing yourself, if your body is okay with that. The key here is to listen to your body. What is it saying to you? When is it saying, I need to go to bed? When is it saying it? Listen to it. Be kind to yourself. Be compassionate with yourself. You are healing. And to be honest with you, most of us need to switch up what we're doing post breast cancer than we were before. So if you're trying to just jump right back in and do what you were doing before, that can feel like a really big struggle. It can feel really hard. And so I like to think that we can tweak things where we're still active and we're still involved and we're still doing things, but we're also honoring ourselves. Because if we were struggling with self care before our diagnosis, something needs to change so that we don't get sick again. Right? It makes sense. If we got sick in the first place, we need to change the things that we are doing, the way that we're thinking, the way that we are focusing on taking care of ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally, so that we can get back our get up and go. That definitely is hightailed it out of here as we've been on our breast cancer journey, for sure. I have yet to meet a survivor who has not experienced that. So these tips over these past 30 days are small, right? That's intentional so that it's not adding more to your already overloaded, fatigued, exhausted, sucked dry plate, right? I don't want to do that. I want to do the opposite. I want to give you the opportunity to get back your get up and go. And I know it can be done. I've seen it with tons of women that I have worked with. I've seen it with myself. And I am going to be sharing more of these secret tips in our masterclass. It's free. It's on Saturday. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. Come in your PJs, bring your coffee. I don't care. I just want you there. I don't want you to miss out on what I'm going to be sharing because I promise it's a game changer. It's a game changer. So make sure that you sign up for the masterclass. I'll leave the link here. If you are watching this and it is after October 30th, if this masterclass goes down as well as I think it's going to, we'll be running it again. So hop on over to my website. That's Karen with an I, delmaestro.com, or pop into the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community. And you will get all the details of any upcoming masterclasses, workshops, anything that's going on. So let's just recap, right? This whole thing about going to bed early. Let's not judge the number on the clock. Let's practice kindness and compassion with ourselves and understand that if we're tired, we're tired. Okay. And if we can, we go to bed. Okay. I understand sometimes that we can't, but a lot of the times we can. Make sure that you're practicing a nighttime routine. Super helpful to signaling your mind, your body, and your spirit that bedtime's coming up. And it's time to start winding down and getting ready for it. Okay. And the other thing is to experiment, right? Where's that sweet spot for you? Like I said, for me, it's between 8 and 9. And that's pretty religious, pretty religious. And I'm up at 5 in the morning. So I'm getting quite a lot of sleep, good quality sleep too. That's why, one of the reasons why I have the energy that I do to keep going and to serve you and to get through my day. And I want the same for you, right? I want that for you because I know it can be done. And so please join me again. Sign up for the masterclass. Seats are going so quickly. So make sure that you save your spot. I want you guys to have a front row seat in the room with me. Live as we talk about reclaiming your energy after breast cancer and the 3 things that you can stop doing that are sucking you dry right now. Okay, that's it for today, guys. I'm back tomorrow for our last, I'm sad, our last video in this series here of energy boosting tips for breast cancer survivors. I hope sincerely that you've enjoyed this gift over through the month of October. I know it's tough. I do. And I hear from so many survivors that October is a really difficult month. And that's why I wanted to do this October for you as a gift to help you deal with the PTSD that we often experience in October, that front and center reminder that breast cancer is a very real part of our life and always will be. But there are things that we can do to reclaim our energy and reclaim our life after our breast cancer treatment is over. And I am here to support you every single step of the way as we go through that journey together. Okay. That's it for today, guys. I'm Karen Del Maestro. Again, you can find me in the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community or over at KarenDelMaestro.com. Bye for now. I'll see you tomorrow.